You are Locked On Warriors POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Warriors POSTCAST. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR. And tonight, LeBron James and Steph Curry put on another memorable duel between two of the NBA's all-time greats. But the Golden State Warriors found themselves on the wrong end of yet another clutch minutes matchup as they fell 115-113 to the Los Angeles Lakers at Chase Center. After Anthony Davis went down with an injury early, LeBron put the Lakers on his back and carried them to victory with 31 points and 10 boards. And it wasn't just him. I mean, Austin Reaves hits the game winner to spoil a monster fourth quarter comeback from Steph Curry, and in this Christmas classic to put the Lakers in the win column. Reaves also puts in a triple-double for the Lakers, an all-time great Christmas Day matchup. But ultimately, the Warriors find a lump of coal in their Christmas stockings as they leave Chase Center with another loss. We'll break it all down, but first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Please, if you aren't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Warriors podcast feed. Make sure to check out the Locked On Warriors Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Charlie Walter does a great job. Today's episode is sponsored by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. And this game had, everything that you wanted to see in a LeBron James versus Steph Curry Christmas Day matchup. It had everything except for, you remember the old script jerseys that they used to use on Christmas that were just so clean? That's the only thing that I was left wanting tonight after this Christmas Day matchup. Just everything that you could have possibly wanted from a basketball fan perspective. Maybe a little bit different from a Warrior fan perspective because obviously you want the win. But Steph and LeBron just trading blow after blow in this one. Steph finishes with 38 points in just a miraculous fourth quarter comeback. It seemed like the Warriors were dead in the water, and Steph just starts hitting three after three after three after three. And in that fourth quarter alone, Steph just, absolutely nuclear in that fourth quarter. He went 7 of 11 from the field, 3 different three-pointers, 2 of them absolute gotta have it clutch shots to put the Warriors in a position to tie and even win this game. But the Lakers kept fighting back, man. They hit all of their free throws, 18 for 18 from the line. That was huge in this one as they were hitting, all of their clutch free throws down the stretch. Austin Reaves hit a couple free throws that were really important in this one. Same with Max Christie. But Reaves, when all the chips were down, and he had a great game all night long, and when all the chips were down and he got his opportunity to take Andrew Wiggins to the rack, he pulled it off. And I feel like that was just way too easy of a layup at the end right there. I feel like if you're Wiggins, you got to foul him at least. I know they're perfect from the line tonight, but you can't let Reaves just get right to the rim on that final play of the game and have this one end the way it did. This game, I feel like, absolutely deserved to go to overtime to just see this continuation of the LeBron versus Steph matchup. And we've seen so many LeBron versus Steph matchups. This isn't even the best Christmas game between these two guys. And tonight was amazing. And that alone is just speaking volumes about these matchups between these two guys. This has been the defining matchup of this era of the NBA. The LeBron James versus Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors as a whole. But LeBron versus Steph in their careers has been so fun to watch. And not just the playoffs. We know all the playoff matchups. They played 28 playoff games between the two. In the regular season, it's been neck and neck too. The Warriors, this is the 24th meeting between Steph Curry and LeBron James, and they're right split down the middle, 12-12 against each other in those regular season matchups throughout their career, the first of which came way back in 2009. We've been watching these guys go at it for damn near, a decade and a half. We're going on 2 decades now of these guys dueling it out like this, and they still give you a combined 69 points tonight. It's pretty nice, if I do say so myself, man. LeBron, ageless, impervious to father time. Steph Curry had, we've seen some up and down play from Steph this year. That knee has really bothered him. But as you can tell, when you got to have it from Steph, when the lights are on in the biggest moments, he's going to show up. You know he's going to show up. My question is, who else is going to show up for this Warriors team? Andrew Wiggins had an okay game tonight offensively, 8 of 19 for 21 points from the floor. He had 12 rebounds as well. I love when Wiggs is aggressive on the boards. 5 offensive rebounds cannot be overlooked. But the scoring, it's just not enough coming from anybody else in these clutch minutes. We've talked about this ad nauseum this year. The clutch minutes are a big problem for the Warriors because you only have one card to play. And tonight, that one card, Stephen Curry, was almost good enough to end up with a win tonight, to come out on top over the Lakers. But I also want to point out that the Lakers did not have Anthony Davis for the majority of this matchup. He started this one, played 7 minutes before he rolled his ankle while he was just walking around. Typical Anthony Davis things. Dude can't stay healthy for longer than like a 5-game stretch, it seems like. Guy is just made of glass. He's a phenomenal basketball player when he's healthy, but Anthony Davis it just seems like you breathe on him too hard and the guy's going to end up on the injury list. And that's what happened tonight for the Lakers. Guys he's not even contact. He's just walking around in the paint, rolls his ankle, out for the rest of the game. And so for the Warriors to not really take advantage of that, they didn't go at the Lakers in the paint. I thought that would be a very good opportunity for the Warriors to go in and exercise some strength down low without Anthony Davis in this game, get to the rim more from guys like Kuminga and Wiggins, and just use that ability to get inside, to slash, to cut. And the Warriors didn't do that as well or as much as I thought they would need to win this game. They lose the points in the paint matchup 48-42, even though Anthony Davis only plays 7 minutes in this one. It was a game that the Warriors should have had on the interior. You out-rebound the Lakers by 10, and you still lose the points in the paint battle. That's not great. And the second chance points were good. The Warriors outlast the Lakers in the second chance points, beat them by +4 in that. But the fast break points, you lose by 6. The free throws, the Warriors did very good from the free throw line actually tonight for the Warriors, and not good from an NBA perspective, but good from a Warriors perspective. They were 76.5% from the line, but Jonathan Kuminga missing a big free throw down the stretch. Things like this got to stop. You have to have someone else who can at least go hit their damn free throws when they get fouled, other than Steph in the fourth quarter. Like, you don't have a single guy that you can even trust to send to the free throw line on this Warriors team in these types of games. You gotta do something. It's a talent deficient roster at this point, and it has been pretty much all season. You had a little bit of a fool's gold with the 12-3 start. You're now 15-14. 12-3 start. You're now 15-14. That's not very many wins and a whole lot of losses in that time period. And the Warriors, a lot of these games have been clutch minutes games. The Warriors were really good at winning these games in the beginning of the season, but now I believe they're just 8-11 in these clutch minutes games after the loss tonight. Not good. Absolutely not good. The Warriors trending in the wrong direction. And I think that's a little bit because in the beginning of the season, you had a little bit of fool's gold. You had matchups against these teams that were just missing stars. It seemed like every time that the Warriors played a team, they were missing a key body early in the season. You played the Pelicans a couple times. They obviously didn't have DeJounte Murray. They didn't have Zion. You play the Celtics without Jaylen Brown. You play the Thunder without Chet Holmgren. It was just game after game. I think the first time you played the Grizzlies, I don't think they had John Morant. So you play all these games, and you play pretty well in the beginning of the season against all these teams that are missing their main key components, and the Warriors got rolling. And eventually they ran into teams that were fully healthy, and the Warriors were unable to actually beat these teams at full strength. And I think it's a very clear reason why. It's that the Warriors just don't have the talent on this roster to compete with top-end teams in the NBA. They went through an absolute gauntlet of a schedule in recent weeks, and we learned a lot about this team. We learned that this team is just not able to match up against these other top teams in the Western Conference, especially ones with really big bodies on the interior. It's the same thing, the same exact story that we had to deal with last year with this Warriors team. Not super great, not super consistent in these clutch minutes. You never really know which team you're going to get, if it's going to show up defensively or not. And, you just don't have enough behind Steph some nights to get it done. And tonight, I can't help but feel like if the Warriors just had another reliable scorer, that they probably win this game. I also feel like they shouldn't have just let Austin Reaves walk to the basket on that last play of the game. Andrew Wiggins has got to stop that drive, has got to cut him off. You just got to be able to beat Austin Reaves if you're Andrew Wiggins on that final play. That's why the Warriors have Wiggs here, because he is such a good long defender. And I rarely see blow-bys against Andrew Wiggins, and Austin Reaves, credit him, he got the better of Andrew Wiggins on that final play of this game. And Reaves had a phenomenal game. In 37 minutes, he was 8 of 20 from the floor, 4 of 10 from three-point land, 6 of 6 from the free throw line, which was important in this one, especially at the end, hitting a couple clutch free throws. He also had 10 boards and 10 assists. This guy put in a triple-double with 26 points and hitting a game winner. You got to tip your cap to that. There's not much you can say on that one. And LeBron, obviously, as we said earlier at the top of the show, 31 points, 5 of 5 from the line, 2 of 4 from 3, hit a big 3 in the fourth quarter in this one, 10 assists for LeBron, and just all over the place at the center of this win for the Lakers. And again, LeBron versus Steph, this matchup has been kept us entertained for going on 2 decades now. And it's worth remembering just how great this matchup has been throughout their respective careers. I feel like on a day like today where you have like a legacy type game, like this is a game that we will remember for years. I feel like this Christmas Day matchup, it's something that will resonate with both fan bases, even though the Warriors ended up losing this one. This is just another story in the lore of the LeBron versus Steph rivalry that has gone on throughout, this entire last decade and a half. And for them to have this type of game just after they had their run in the Olympics where they won the gold medal together, I think that it's worth talking about the LeBron versus Steph rivalry in the greater, larger context of this last era of basketball that is coming to a close. LeBron talked about it at the end on the postgame there. So, we gotta address it. It is the single greatest rivalry in the NBA, if you want to call it a rivalry, the best matchup, the one with the most juice that we've had in the NBA in the last decade plus. That's what's next coming up on the Locked On Warriors postcast. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. I love live events, from concerts to sporting events and everything in between, and I rely on Game Time to get my tickets. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I also love the all-in pricing feature. Toggling this feature on shows the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. Game Time also gives customers the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. And with Game Time ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Receipt of copy does not constitute an order. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Today's show is also sponsored by Rocket Money. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about, or were you paying for them twice? That's definitely happened to me. I had a few subscriptions that I didn't even realize I was still paying for, and Rocket Money made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to use or you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of over $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. For me, one of the best features is the subscription tracker. I've used it to cancel services I wasn't using anymore. I've already saved a ton. Plus, with their goals feature, I've been able to automatically set aside money for my future. No more stressing about budgeting every month. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Welcome back to the Locked On Warriors postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and tonight The Warriors just can't get it done. The Lakers outlast them in this Christmas Day Classic, 115 to 113, as the Warriors leave Chase Center with a lump of coal. And we'll talk about the deserved lump of coal that the Warriors got for Christmas this year. It has been really bad in these clutch minutes games as of late, and the Warriors are kind of free falling. But before we get into all that negative stuff, I think that we got to pay a little bit of respect to what we just saw. This game tonight, what was just a great day for the NBA, a great game for the NBA on a day when it's supposed to be kind of the unofficial start, of the NBA regular season. In years past, it's a little bit different now with the NBA in-season tournament. People seem to care a little bit more now, which is great. But in years past, it felt like the NBA didn't really start until Christmas Day. And this was, just the best way for Christmas Day to go. I mean, you have Steph versus LeBron, and everyone, I think this was one of the matchups at the beginning of the year that you got circled on the calendar. I know it was on mine. You always want to see the Steph versus LeBron matchup. And throughout their careers, they have met so many times. This was the 24th time that they have met in the regular season in their careers. And they're dead even, 12-12 against each other in the playoffs. Steph has the edge, 17 wins and 11 losses against LeBron James. But these guys have played so many games against each other, 50-plus games against between the two of them, if you include playoffs and regular season. And it's so neck and neck between these guys. I mean, Steph has averaged 23.7 points in these 23 going into tonight's 24th regular season games against LeBron James in his career. And LeBron has averaged 30, 29.8, and 9.1 rebounds and 7 assists in these 24 games versus Steph. I mean, LeBron has been absolutely unreal in this matchup when they meet. Steph has had some help in years past. You know what I mean? Like, Steph hasn't had to go one-on-one, mano-a-mano versus LeBron with nobody else. Like, he's had Draymond Green and he's had Klay Thompson. Kind of like LeBron is just like such a superhuman. We forget sometimes how great this guy is and how many great players it takes to compete with this one great guy. And I've never been like the biggest LeBron fan. I think that it's kind of funny when we hold him up against, the Jordans and things like that. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve to be in the conversation, but I think he's just such a different, unique kind of player. And he just doesn't seem to have that like killer mentality of like the Kobe Bryants, the Michael Jordans, those types of guys. But it doesn't take away from his greatness, because the way that this guy still impacts winning without having to be the guy to go and hunt the winning basket every single time, as you saw tonight. He wasn't the guy who went and scored the game winner. That was Austin Reaves, but he didn't need to be that guy to be the most dominant player on the floor in this game. LeBron is like Thanos, and the Warriors are like the Avengers. You got to get a group, a collective together to take this guy down. That's how 29.8 points, 9.1 rebounds, and 7 assists per game in these matchups with Steph from LeBron. He obviously turns it on to another level when he plays Stephen Curry. And iron sharpens iron. We know that in the NBA. Like, when greats play each other, they step up. And that's been the same story in the NBA for as long as the NBA has existed. And I mean, I think that's a nod to Steph as well, because he is someone that makes LeBron get up for a game like this. And there aren't a ton of guys left in the NBA where, when LeBron's on the floor with them, that he instantly feels like he's got to give you something. And LeBron talked about this at the very end of the game tonight, in the postgame, if you caught it just after this one ended. He said it's impossible not to think about retirement, and that there aren't too many more chances for this Steph Curry versus LeBron matchup, something to add even more lore to the legacy between these two guys that has been going on for the last 15 years. I mean, this is such an essential part of the NBA's history in this recent time that the last, in the LeBron James decade. Like, this is the one guy who stopped LeBron from just running roughshod over the NBA for the last 15 years. Without Steph Curry and the Warriors, LeBron probably has twice as many championships as he does now, maybe even more than that. But LeBron said that it was important to give the fans what they deserve, and that it was just a great day for the NBA. He said he loves the NFL, but today is the NBA's day. And I love that he came out and just so candidly talked about this, because so many guys, I mean, think about the Klay Thompson game earlier this year. Oh, it's just another game. No, it's not, dude. And it's okay to say that it's not just another game. Everybody in the building knows it. It has some extra juice to it. And yeah, it's just one win and one loss. That doesn't change that, obviously. But I mean, the momentum, the momentum a win like this could give you, the way that like building on a game like this can propel you to future wins, that's a very real thing. And to pretend like this game didn't matter a little bit more to Steph Curry than, the last time they were out there against the Pacers a couple days ago, you're wrong. You're wrong. We did not watch the same basketball games. If you're going to tell me that both of these games mean the same thing to a guy like Steph, they absolutely do not. I mean, we saw, we're talking all about what LeBron did tonight with how crazy he went from the field. Steph in the fourth quarter went just bananas. Like, this guy just could not miss in that fourth quarter from the field. He needed somebody else to score some damn points, but Steph Curry in that fourth quarter, 7 of 11 from the floor, hit 3 different threes. And he was just on fire. 38 points for Steph Curry in this one. And obviously, as we just talked about, iron sharpens iron. And when he sees LeBron across the floor from him, all of a sudden, Steph starts being able to turn back the clock a little bit. And tonight, 8 of 15 on those 3-pointers. He's been having a rough shooting couple weeks, it hasn't really been all year that Steph has been struggling from the floor, but these last few weeks, he really has been struggling from the floor. So to see him put in 38 points on 24 shots, that's a good sign for Steph. He shows you with a game like this, when he needs to get up for something, he still has that ability. Steph is still Steph Curry. When you need him to be, he still goes out there and does crazy things with a ball in his hand. He's got that thing on a string, and just the way that he can splash him in is just unreal. The off-ball movement, the way he can find these little gaps behind screens, and just, his ability to find open shots is just uncanny, and it's something you don't see very often in the NBA, despite how many guys we see chucking up threes. None of them do it quite like Steph does. The way that he finds himself open, the way he gets himself open is unlike anybody else in the league. And you have to capitalize that. Absolutely have to capitalize on that, utilize that, and ride that to however far it'll take you at this point. Who knows if Steph can lead the team to a championship at this stage of his career, but I think you owe it to him and the rest of the Warriors fan base to try. And we say this every day, but again, this game is another perfect example why the Warriors need to go make a trade. This roster is so talent deficient, and you owe it to Steph. Look what he did tonight. You're going to let this guy go out there and have a superhuman performance and have the rest of the team just let him down, flat out let him down in one of the biggest moments of the season so far. This game was, I'm not going to say essential to win, but it could have done a whole lot for your psyche if you win this game. So we got to talk about that next. The Warriors leaving with a well-deserved lump of coal from Chase Center tonight, and I'll explain why it was well-deserved on the other side. Locked On Warriors postcast rolls on. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Today's show is sponsored by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action this season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Welcome back to the Locked On Warriors postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. Tonight, the Warriors fall to the Lakers 115-113. And it was right there. The Warriors had this one in hand. Steph Curry was hitting all the crazy shots down the stretch. It felt like this one was going to be a Warriors win. This felt a little different than the other clutch minutes games where the Warriors can't score. All season long, their defense has been solid in these clutch minutes games. The offense has been lacking. Well, tonight, the offense was not lacking, but that's because of one man and one man only. Steph splashing in a bunch of threes in that fourth quarter, going absolutely bananas from the field, and it scores 38 points in this one. But it wasn't enough. The Warriors still lose this game, even though Steph hits all of those major gotta-have-it clutch shots and ridiculous three-pointers, the relocation threes off the offensive rebounds. All of those things go your way, and you still lose this game. And if that doesn't tell you that this Warriors team desperately needs to go add another star alongside Stephen Curry, then I don't know what does. I mean, we have talked about this every damn game, but the Warriors need to go sign somebody to go out there with Steph, somebody that can at least hit free throws down the stretch in those clutch minutes, somebody that's got a little bit of dog in them to go in and go after your opponent and put your foot on the throat and win these games. Stop letting teams come back in. And when you have this momentum and you're starting to overtake some teams, don't take your foot off the gas pedal. Push on it harder. And there's a guy who has publicly said that he wants out of the team that he's currently on by the trade deadline. And there's been a lot of rumors linking him here for a long time. And that, of course, is Jimmy Butler. And I do think that Jimmy Butler is a big enough addition to make a difference here with the Warriors. I know that there are questions about his availability. I mean, he's also an older aging star. How many games is he really going to be able to give you in the regular season? Is that going to be enough of a difference to get this Warriors team into the playoffs and out of the play-in? And I think it is. I personally really genuinely think that even adding Jimmy Butler, although he's not the best addition that they could make to this team right now, I think that that is enough to at least give yourself a shot at getting to the playoffs and making a run. I think playoff Jimmy plus Steph and Draymond, when they have the ability to turn it on still, as we saw Steph do tonight, I think that is as formidable as any three-headed monster in the NBA. I do think that Cam Johnson from the Brooklyn Nets would be the perfect addition to this team. The way that he could space this floor with his shooting ability, he's young, he can run. I think that would be a phenomenal addition to this team. But one thing that Jimmy Butler's got that Cam doesn't is Jimmy is a dog, man. And Jimmy, there's just something about that guy where he just has this next level competitor in him, where when the chips are down, when he's got to have it, he does what we just saw Steph and LeBron both do. Like, Jimmy's got that in him. And I think that the Warriors need some of that. More than they just need shooting, they need some attitude at the ends of these games. Someone who's going to say, like, this, we are not going to lose. Someone other than Steph who's going to just will the team to victory. And Jimmy Butler, yes, he's got the shooting ability, but he's got a lot of other things that he can rely on in those moments as well. A lot of other winning traits. His defense is nasty when he wants it to be still. Like, this guy is still can be still a lockdown defender. I don't think if you have him out there, for instance, instead of Wiggins, I don't think Austin Reaves is getting to the hole on that drive. So there's things that Jimmy can do to add to this team other than just shooting. And I think that this team just needs some dog in them. And that's what Jimmy brings the most to the table of anybody who's available in the NBA right now on the trade market. Maybe Jimmy might have the most dog in him of any NBA player in existence. Him and Draymond on the same team would just be nasty. As one pair of players that I would not want to piss off if I was on the other team, because I might end up in the hospital at the end of the game with those two guys running around on the same squad. But that would be a pretty nasty piece to be able to play. It would give the Warriors this sense of toughness and grittiness that they just haven't had in a way like that, maybe ever during this recent dynasty where they have been a dominant team. They've never really been like a bully, but putting Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green on the same court might make this team a bully, and this team needs some of that mentality. You go out there, you start pushing guys around, you are already a good defensive team. If you add the mentality of like and I'm not saying like a Debo Samuel, I mean like Debo from the movie Friday. You walk around like you're Debo through the NBA. That's a pretty good persona to carry around if you are this lockdown defensive team. And that's going to, I mean, I think that elevates you. I really genuinely think that puts the Warriors in the conversation of the playoffs and not the play-in. And tonight, with the loss, the Warriors are now tied for 8th with the Minnesota Timberwolves, who they do own the tiebreaker over. But again, you're meddling around that like 7, 8, 9, 10 spot, same place you finished last season at. The same place the Warriors they didn't spend the majority of the season in this spot last year. They had to climb their way back into the play-in the second half of the season. So you don't want to have to do that again. You're backsliding. You're going the wrong way. This team, again, after starting 12-3, they're 15-14 on the season. The gravitational pull of 500 is strong. But the Warriors, in order to stop this, go get some more talent. That's the number one way that this team can improve. is get better. Go make a trade. Go get somebody who can come in here that you can pair with Steph. I do not care who you have to give up as long as it is not Steph Curry or Draymond Green. You chase this championship. There is no two timelines. You do not care about what happens post Steph Curry. You figured that out when you get there. It's how many franchises spend their whole entire existence trying to get a Stephen Curry? You do not look ahead to life after Steph. You owe it to him and every Warriors fan to chase this championship until the building collapses, until Steph himself and his knees crumble beneath him. You got to pair stars around Steph, and you got to try to chase another ring. You have to. You have to. And hopefully Jimmy Butler and some other guys want to come ring chase here with Steph, because that would be great if they could, push their way here to Golden State. Help Mike Dunleavy get somebody else in here. I do like Mike Dunleavy's moves so far. He seems to have the mentality of he's not going to get got on a trade. It doesn't seem like he's the type of guy who's willing to make a trade that he could maybe potentially lose, or a trade that could potentially come back to haunt him. Mike's not going to pull the trigger on something like that. So it wouldn't entirely surprise me if the Warriors don't make a trade, which does bother me, but I think it's more than likely that they do make one before the end of the season, before the trade deadline is up. I think the Warriors are going to go get another player. I just don't know if it's going to be this star level guy. We'll see what happens, but I would really, really, really love to see the Warriors go get Jimmy Butler or Cam Johnson from the Nets. I think that would be the best fit, but Jimmy Butler would give this team a level of nastiness. And Jimmy said publicly that he wants out of Miami by the trade deadline. So we gotta go get Jimmy. You gotta go get somebody and get them in here on this roster. It's just a talent deficient roster at this point, just completely behind the rest of the top teams of the West. And you got to do something to shrink that gap. And on nights like tonight, the gap doesn't seem like it's too big. When Steph is playing like this, it doesn't seem like that gap is insurmountable, but you got to have somebody to help bridge the rest of that, because it is still a gap. You got to get somebody else in here to help bridge it. That's all the time that we got for you guys today here on the Locked On Warriors postcast. The Warriors going home with a well-deserved lump of coal after the way that they've been playing in the last couple of weeks and without making a move yet. You got a bad roster. Go play teams that are better than you. You're going to lose. It's pretty simple. So the Warriors are backsliding right now. They need to shake things up in a big way. 15-14 now, 7-7 at home at Chase Center on the season. The gravitational pull of 500 is so incredibly strong with all Bay Area sports teams in this last season. I mean, we don't even need to talk about the 49ers right now. I don't need to start yelling on the Warriors postcast, but the Giants, finishing around 500 this year. The Warriors finishing around 500 last year, and again, looking like they're going to do the same thing again this year if they don't make a major change. So that's all the time we got for you guys today. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll see you next time as the Warriors take on the Clippers on Friday. We'll come to you live as we always do. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Whatever you're doing today, hope you had a good one. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Peace.